Hello, everybody. This is your old friend Joe Tavares, and we will be doing a video-based reflection using Bartlett's circle. So in the text-based reflection that I just submitted, I used, I analyzed my college counseling advisory. This next thing I do or I analyze is a little bit different. It's a third grade class. I am not a third grade teacher, but I had the willingness and support of one of our third grade teachers at school to let me help teach a science lesson. The science lesson was about cause and effect. Essentially what happened is the classroom teacher began by getting students to share their background knowledge on liquids, solids, and gases. And we then separated the students into two, and as we talked about how a liquid to turn into a gas, again, we had we had groups of students on different sides of the room, and we squirted a perfume bottle, and we saw how long it took to reach the students on the other side of the room. That is, how long they could smell it. Where I came in is really helping students into a worksheet activity and taught them the cause and effect lesson. We shifted gears a bit, and we talked about a race that the teacher and I are having, a foot race, and I think this really got the kids excited because I brought out a trophy that is actually going to go to the victor of this race, and we talked about how the person is going to win the trophy, and the kids, using a visual organizer, were able to see the effect of the teacher winning their teacher winning the race, and what were the potential ways that he could win the race. That is, training, making sure he wore the right sneakers on the day of the race. The kids really got into it, and this made it, whenever you have willing participants in a classroom, it makes the process much easier, because again, this was my first time in a third grade classroom. So from there, we ended up doing a worksheet where we went back to liquids, solids, and gases, and the kids were then to use that knowledge or transfer kind of that knowledge that they had seen modeled by myself, and were then asked to analyze some cause and effect and how an ice cream would turn into a liquid through the sun. And again, that was with about 20 to 25 minutes. We went from going from activating prior knowledge about liquids, solids, and gases. We then talked about cause and effect using this race that myself and the teacher are involved in. And finally, we went to a worksheet where the kids could apply that knowledge. So in terms of mapping, that's the overall lesson. So the next stage of Bartlett's that Bartlett tells us is the informing process. And so what is the conscious teaching action, and what was routine? Well, again, this was my first time ever working with third grade students, so you can imagine that everything was conscious that I did. I made sure a learning objective was on the board for all students. I made a real-life connection with the subject matter. I brought in props to really contextualize the lesson. In this case, the prop was actually a trophy that the winner of the race gets. I checked for understanding. My gosh, I couldn't believe how these kids raise their hand when basically you ask any question. You know, often I'm dealing with high school students where it's not always cool to have that right answer. But we checked for understanding, and actually the kids were really honest when they didn't get something right away. And then after, as we did the worksheet, we had students kind of do a think, pair, share. And I actually sat down with students because we had them scattered across the classroom working in small groups. So that was really the informing. Again, everything was really conscious, and very little was routine. I had not developed routines with the class, and anything that they did well was really because they have a great teacher who's been working with them for this year. The next stage is contesting. What beliefs do I have that underlie my teaching? I have to be honest. I think working with high school students, I have this belief, or that, if you will students to, or kind of push them along, that they would get it. And I think that this is going to go into my appraisal stage a little bit, but I really believe that students are can do things at a certain level, and sometimes what I do is I spend individual time with students at the sacrifice of big group. But in terms of my beliefs, I believe that every student can learn. I believe that there are independent learners, and that it's a teacher's job to make sure that students something may click right away, that they're supported. But for sure, students who may need that extra scaffolding get that support as well. Again, I hinted at this before, but my appraisal, how would I do things differently? I think the teacher did a really good job warming up the students for me, but I would have loved to really take the lesson from start to finish. I really felt rushed in the small time we had, and I think that sometimes showed very clearly what was that this wasn't my full lesson. And again, the teacher was doing me a favor because I needed this for our University of Alabama class. Other things I might do, at one point in the video, I was kind of reminded that I had the visual organizer up on the board for the students to see cause and effect, and I erased it right away, way too quickly, before I had really hammered the point home of what cause and effect was in this situation. And I made a big leap to talking about another cause and effect situation, that of using liquid, solids, and gases. And that was way too fast for a third grade level. So sorry, kids, that I didn't do well on that part. But I definitely felt like I rushed, and maybe I didn't really make a full teaching transition to working with third grade students. Acting, how would I have modified my teaching so that I could be more effective? I definitely would have more planning time with my co-teacher. I think even being in front of third grade students was a great test run. For sure the ice is broken, and I've now had that experience of working with elementary school students. I know what it's like to be in an elementary school classroom, because the last time I'd been in an elementary school classroom was when I was in elementary school. So even just having that small little bit of experience, I know that I saw an effective teacher in action as my co-teacher really warmed them up, and I got to see him actually before the lesson started. And I know that developing that rapport and really that personality with the students is really key. So that's really my video-based reflection in terms of mapping, informing, contesting, appraisal, and acting. Again, this was really a great experience. I'm glad I had the chance to do it. And without a doubt, after doing this lesson, having the opportunity to see myself on video and really, analyzing what I did, even though I realized going into it wasn't going to be perfect, was helpful. So, yeah, that's my video-based reflection for what we have. See you guys. Everybody else is doing great videos.